Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I know you're just starting, but how are things going for you so far?
So far, so good. And you?
I don't even want to talk about it. I want to do over. I want to do over. Today's been rough. It's been real rough.
hmm
Um, okay, so welcome everybody to the commentary zone. As you enter the room, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up like I'm doing right now. Um, if you haven't already, please subscribe. What are you waiting for? Hit that notification bell, follow us on the Twitter and the IG. Just become part of the family. All right, so on the docket today, we have the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 24, Reunion Part 3.
Hmm.
I guess you know my opinion from the thumbnail, and I did it
Right.
last night. So I was just like, when I saw the picture, because I was just like, I'm pissed. I'm wasted 3 weeks on this.
Right. I agree with you. But we knew this was gonna happen though. So I'm not gonna. We can't feign ignorance.
They
It's
changed it
just
up though.
yeah. Of course they did.
They changed it up, which sucks. Okay, so the alert just went out for YouTube. So we should be getting more of our friends in the chat. Hey, Black Lavender, how are you today? What's for lunch? Oh my
But I'm not
God.
gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
This episode gave me more questions to ask. I found
Mm-hmm.
some info very interesting. Okay.
Oh, are you ready to share, or what
I
do you
mean,
want to
like,
do?
there's no point in going. We don't really. This third part was boring. Let's call it thing a thing, right?
They were
You
a
really,
little light on Jen and
yes,
Cherie.
correct. Which is
They
this is where I'm gonna get to.
Did you feel like they were heavier on Justin than they were on Sharif
Yeah,
with that one question about his case?
exactly. So that's why I want to do this real quick. So
Okay.
this comes from where Jen was saying that why are they questioning where the brown girls money's coming from? Yada yada yada. I'm like, Jen, that's not why people are questioning you. I'm going to need you not to do that. This is not a time where the black card should be played. Don't do that. Because
Mm-mm.
it also stems from the question, and he's like, people felt like Sharif got it easy compared to Erica Jane. And he
Mm-hmm.
did. Now, on one hand, Erica Jane was not the perpetrator. Erica Jane wasn't the perpetrator. Now her husband like basically got way more money than Jen's husband. Let's call it thing a thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't see Sharif talking doing music video talking about the expensive to be me rolling around on the bed. It was a spray with money, and I don't think Coach Shaw has a glam squad. So
But he was bragging about the lifestyle in that tape that she submitted. You saw
right,
that clip?
yeah,
Yeah.
but the lifestyles are completely don't
They
compare.
are, but
They don't compare. Let's be honest. All right. So taking all that into account, I'm like, okay. And then she's like,
mm-hmm.
he's talking about, yeah, she's always worked. She's always worked for 20, she's worked for 20 some years. He's all like, before
Mm-hmm.
that, okay. I was like, she amassed all these. I'm like, okay, that's fair. But here's what kind of caught my ear. When she said, my husband has 3 degrees and and he was a lawyer for how long, babe? 15 years. He's like,
I was
13 years, babe.
surprised by
Hold
that.
on. I was like, hold up. Wait a
He was
minute.
a lawyer.
You're bragging about this? I'm like, okay. But did you see how they show? Was it on the show? Did they show the side by side? No, it was on Twitter. I wish got that link where they showed. They're like, no, Jen. We question you because your house before and Shah Chalet don't match.
Yeah,
That was on Twitter.
I saw the old a picture of the old house. It's
hmm
like it's smaller than what she's had to downsize to now. It's like a regular house, a regular
Right.
smuggler for like $400,000 or something.
Okay, so now let me share the screen. Give me one moment. Screen share. So I had to do a little verifying of what Jen said. We don't trust her. All right. All right, so this is from the University of Utah. Looks like their
Mm-hmm.
official website, and it shows his education. He went to Utah. 93 got his bachelor's in political science. 95 got his master's in exercise and sports science, and he got his JD from Utah in 2001. Okay, so that checks out. Now let me see, where did it bring? I think this was in another article I read. So basically, he was a lawyer from a top firm in Utah, which was fantastic. I thought that was great, you know. But he wanted to stay a part of the game, so he became a certified agent through the I want to say the NFL certification process, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, like Sharif, good job. So I'm thinking like, well, you were,
He was a
you
big
know,
time like agent, and she said something odd. She said he's downgraded to the job he's at now.
yeah, because he was a lawyer, but then he became an agent, and I'm like, well, okay, but he dealt with like medical insurance type stuff. I had to find the article again, but I just thought it was really interesting that you went from being a lawyer at
Mm-hmm.
one of the top firms in Utah, not just any firm. It was like a top firm in Utah, so he wasn't just some regular schmegler lawyer.
Did he get
Then
disbarred?
it didn't say anything like that. But then he went to a sports agent, but I don't see where he had any really high profile clients, like where you sign over 200 mil, you sign 200 mil contracts, and you get 10%, which is 20 mil. So I'm like, well, if you were a successful sports agent, why were you in a regular schmegler house? And then she brought up the fact that he's a coach. She's like, he's a coach at a D1 Pac-12 school. We just played in the Rose Bowl last year. This is not Little League. I'm like, okay, but ma'am, and this is nothing against him because she's correct, but Utah's a very good school in the Pac-12 now. Their profile has been raised, especially since coming to the Pac-12. But he is a DB special teams coach. He is not a defensive coordinator. So he's not making into the seven figures. So to show you what I'm talking about, let me share this other screen with you guys.
While you're pulling that up, Ryan wants to know if he was in sports management law.
No, I think it was
You said
more
it was
insurance.
insurance?
Yes,
Oh, like the other chap in Miami, Anthony.
yes. So
Oh.
share. All right. So this is Coach Shah's salary from the last couple of years. So in 2019 he made 350K. Uh, got raised in 2020, 400K. No raise for 2021, 450K. 2022 he's slated to make half a mil. I'm not sneezing at that money. Don't get me wrong, but
It doesn't
that
support the
being
lifestyle.
correct, and that's where people have the question. And let me double check because I want to make sure I have the figures right.
And don't forget, like, she supports everybody in her family, according to
Mm-hmm.
her. Maybe he just, maybe he is the person who's like in charge of the house. Like that's why they had that normal house, because he's practical. He's like, I'm gonna live within my means. This is the house that I can afford based on my salary.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we're gonna buy. This is all we need.
Right.
So that could explain the house.
Correct. But remember, they never owned Shah Chalet as that came out later. If I
No, I mean the
recall,
first house, the regular
oh, first
smuggler
house.
house.
Yeah, that was. Remember, that was. I think that was the one that was in the court docket.
Mm.
Remember, because that was the people point out, hey, this is the a house that's listed, but that's not Shah Chalet.
Mm-hmm.
And remember Shah Chalet, they were renting. I want to say it was like 12 grand a month, and we are like, what? 12 grand a month?
That was double her salary.
Correct. This is why people have the question about your finances is not because you're brown, and I did not like that argument.
Because they got like $6,000 an episode first season,
Yeah,
and that's Shah
something like that.
Chalet 1, right?
Yeah, Shah Level One was like 12 grand a month, but then I
Mm,
got sold,
right. Mm.
so that was annoying to me. I'm like, don't do that. Okay, so here it is. He specialized in medical malpractice and catastrophic automobile accidents.
Oh, he's an ambulance chaser.
You could say that.
Oh,
You could say
he's
that.
a Sweet James, right? Isn't that what Sweet James does?
Something like that, yeah.
Hey, Larger Curves. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Susan.
So you
Who
see,
else
it's
is
not
in
it's
here?
not her being brown. I just wanted to put that out there from my take. I just did not see it that way.
Hmm.
Like, what were your thoughts when she even said that? Like, what were your thoughts on that?
I ignored it because she always throws out the brown black card. I think someone said it in the chat at the worst times when it doesn't count, like it doesn't pertain to the subject matter. She's just annoying. And besides, who believes anything that she says anymore? Ryan wants to know if any of the women own their own homes. I feel like Heather and Whitney might own. I
Yeah,
question Lisa. Lisa's house looks so stark, like there's no personalization in it. Yeah. And we all know Meredith doesn't. Who else is on the show? Jenny. Jenny might own hers.
yeah. I think they might own.
Oh, and Mary.
Oh yeah, we know Mary owns
Yeah.
because she basically doing a demolition.
Mm-hmm. Uh, no, more of them own their own home besides Mary. Mary owned the most homes out of all
Right.
that cast.
Hmm.
I think she's the only one who owned multiple homes because what's she name? Justin said that when they lying about how much money she used on that rebrand, but now they're saying that it was an account that they were using to save up to buy a cabin, and that's what she spent. I don't know, y'all.
Me neither.
It would be convenient if suddenly she did spend all of the money and they were broke, if someone was coming after him in a legal
Right.
case to get retribution and he has none. It would just be really convenient.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you on that. I was like. But it's interesting that he said that she spent the cabin money
Mm-hmm.
on the rebrand, right? But let's
Mm-hmm.
remember she was
In
talking
the
about
show.
talking about taking out $1 million loan.
No, but in the show too, he's like, you're spending all of this money. What if something happens to me? There's nothing for you. There's nothing for the kids. There's nothing for the other kids. Like, what are you doing? It's very
Exactly.
conflicting.
Yeah, but then she's talking about like, oh, that she need to take out this loan. I'm like, excuse you? Like, is that what you really want to do?
Okay, so Larger says, I said it. I called it when I saw that she was laundering money for her husband litigation. So it looks like they don't have no money from the rebranding of her face cream.
Probably face cream.
So they were lying for dramatic effect during the season about this money. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Because
is reality TV after all. We don't believe
it is.
anything they say.
Because it was all too convenient.
Or it felt like it was serving another purpose.
Well, that too. That too.
What else happened in this episode?
I'm trying to think. Oh, what was interesting was when Andy brought up the charges. and she acting like she didn't know nothing. And I will say this about Andy. When she's up there trying to boohoo and blow snot, talking about she innocent, when
Mm-hmm.
he said like the New York Manhattan people, their success rate of conviction is 95%. And she's like, well, that's because like people take a lot of plea deals. I'm like, ma'am, why do you think they're taking these plea deals? I'm just looking at her like, I'm gonna need you to stop talking. Stop talking. You make no sense.
She did say when she goes to her lawyer's office, she don't talk about stuff like that. That's a waste of money if you ain't talking about your case, girl.
Ma'am, like you're paying him just to talk about coffee? No.
Oh,
And
this.
my thing is this: if he's okay, like he's no longer a lawyer, right? And he's no longer a sports agent. He's purely, um, you know, a D1 cornerback special teams coach, making, we'll say last year 450K, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her retainer was 2 million. Where did you get that money from? Because you remember she said they downsized, they didn't sell because it wasn't theirs to sell.
Mm-hmm.
When you come up with 2 million retainer, the people want to know.
Why do they need 2 million as a retainer?
Oh, because they know the amount of work that's going into the case. The retainer is for basically what happens. What they do, and I had to look this up. The retainer is basically you prepaying for like all the expenses.
Right, but the lawyers that she has in Utah, are they also licensed to practice law in New York, or are they paying for the separate lawyers in New York as
I
well?
bet you they're paying for the civil lawyers in New York as well.
Well, then that makes more sense because they have a higher per hour charge rate.
Correct.
Okay. And then you're going to need somebody that has experience going up against Southern District. Just saying. And
I
winning.
mean, good luck with that. Good luck with that because, and a viewer question came up
Mm-hmm.
saying like, basically Stewart flipping on you um looks bad for your case. And instead of her acknowledging and saying like, I know it looks bad, but this and this, she kept crying, talking about she's innocent. I'm like, are you really gonna sit there and say that your number two has pled guilty? As
Mm-hmm.
number one, you're saying you're not guilty. Everyone under you has been arrested, is probably going to be convicted, but you're the only innocent one, and you're the head of this. I'm going to need you to stop. I
Mm-mm.
I'm going to need you to stop with that. I understand for TV you can't say yeah I'm guilty, I did it. I get it, but you she leaves herself no outs in the situation by maintaining that, oh, I'm innocent, I didn't do that. Mm-mm. No, don't believe you, but okay.
Mm-mm. There was one particular viewer question. Oh God, I know I wrote down the name and I can't find it, but they was asking all the questions, all the shady boots questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, y'all can find a different name. Oh my goodness. This was an interesting episode. I liked when the husbands came up.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that wasn't there was Seth because of a COVID concern. Um, but all the other husbands showed up. I'm so glad that Jenny and Dewey are not coming back. And besides the issue that got them terminated in the first place, but the way how they presented themselves on this reunion, it just did not click for me.
But I agree with you 100%. And did you see those women's faces when he was talking? Like, if they had weapons, he would not be there.
He wasn't making no sense. He just
No.
wasn't. He was deflecting a lot. I think that's what was irritating me with him. He was deflecting, and it made it really like if I gave that story an ounce of believability before, he wiped it away during that whole soliloquy of his. Um, that was made up. That was
Which
made
part?
up about the sister wife. And yeah, they
Okay.
might want another kid, but are they going to actually do it? No. And then when he said, I never asked Jenny to have the child.
I was sitting there like, what?
Shut up.
But what killed me when he said, like, we're all business people, and he's all basically, I was looking at the result. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna need you to get off the couch. Please leave.
He
I
just
couldn't do
came
it.
off really fake to
Oh,
me. Jenny, glad you're gone, one and done. The viewers, yeah. I would like to see those viewer questions, the actual original tweets or however they were submitted. I want to see those.
yeah.
I still like Seth. Like when Andy asked him, what'd you think about when Lisa said that your wife has sex with half in New York? And he was like, did she say I had sex with the other half? I like him. And when he said like he adores her and he just wants to be there for her to provide some sort of like comic relief or some such nonsense. Just like, yeah, like any other married couple, they have their ups and downs. But do I believe he really worships the ground that Meredith
Yep.
walks on? Yeah, he
He
does.
does.
He might be talking about Whitney titties, but he would die for Meredith. And I think she might take that I think she used to take it for granted, but now that her dad's passed, I think she sees a different side to him. I hope. What'd you think about, let's go over to Justin. So they said that the money was really a savings account for a cabin. She says that her business is up 540% compared to last year.
But it was at zero last year, right?
Yeah, but yeah,
Okay,
and
there we go.
you're on a reality show.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. It's easy to improve on zero or maybe negative 20%, but that's just me. I could be wrong.
They asked Justin about his retirement money, and Whitney says that she is her husband's retirement plan, and she is putting the money back.
Okay.
You better start watching that account.
Justin, I mean, if she is your plan, I'm going to need you to like really keep an eye on the money
Mm-mm.
and siphon some off each month just in case. I'm just saying, don't trust her with the key. Don't completely trust her with the keys because she's putting in too much money. I mean, I'm side eyeing you when you're having a rebrand with no new rebrand. I'm just saying because remember
Hey,
we brought it up.
JG.
We brought it up like how she's rebranding, but everything else like
Mm-hmm.
the old logo and old name and stuff. We're like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't trust that.
Jenny looked mad the whole time. Yep, because it wasn't focused on her. And that's what made me realize I don't want her on this show. You can't not contribute anything worthwhile and yet expect all of the focus to be on you. Sorry.
Right.
When Seth isn't being cringy, he's okay. Yeah. Well, he's away 50% of the time, so we can keep him.
Yeah. Don't have to look at you too much.
I did like when Sharif mentioned that he does do therapy and was really advocating for people to seek help when they need it, especially coming from the Black community where it's, almost taboo. he said, who was it who said the same way that you go and you work out your body at the gym, you
Sharif.
just, yeah, you go to therapy to help work out the situations in your head. Um, he's so likable.
He is.
I really like Sharif. Tag. It's a pity. I'd like to meet his other family though.
Right.
I still struggle to understand why Heather lets Jen berate her. She was yelling at her again last night. She's loyal to a fault. Yes. And Jen laid into Heather because Heather said like a jokey kind of thing. She says all sorts of things about me, this one here, and yet I still,
Show
am a
up.
ride or die for her. And I thought that was stupid but endearing of Heather. I didn't take offense to that, but obviously
Mm-mm.
Jen did, and Jen lit into her towards the end of the episode because of it. And I'm just like, really, girl? Jen, you got bigger things to worry about. They tried to clear up the timeline of calls on the arrest day. I'm still confusion.
Right.
Still confusion. So basically, Sharif has rectal bleeding.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he was at the hospital getting checked because he doesn't like to go to the doctor. He had an assistant with him. Did he mention the sex of the assistant? Did he use any pronouns?
No.
Interesting. So you take your assistant with you to the doctor.
But you're what assistant? Because here's the thing. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
There no pronouns were used, as you said. He has a job where it's pretty much all men. I don't believe the University of Utah has any female football coaches on their staff. So we can assume that if he had an assistant, it would be the assistant special teams coordinator, which is most likely male.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Shah? Why do you need, if it's not one of them? Why do you need assistants?
See, when I heard assistant, I just thought it was his other family.
Okay.
Because why would I go to the doctor with my coworker?
Correct.
Anyway, I'm digging too deep into that.
No,
so he says,
it's fair though. We have to talk about that a little bit more because why do you need an assistant? And where
was he being sedated?
But hold on, maybe. But where's this other assistant automatically come from though? We've never heard Coach Shaw mention that he had an assistant. We've never heard Jen mention that he had an assistant. That makes no sense to me.
If it was a colonoscopy, you do get sedated for that. And you can't drive after that. I'm remembering my mom's. Yeah, they put you out. And it takes time to come out of that anesthetic. Actually, coming out of that took longer than my mother's cataract surgery anesthetic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Her colonoscopy days were really long. That's why I'm kind of glad we don't have to do them anymore. As her doctor said, well, she's reached that age where you really don't need to do these tests anymore. So she's just too old for them to care. Yay. So he said that the assistant called Jen, and that was the call that we saw on the Sprinter where she was looking around guilty. She says,
But
he was having his assistant call Jen, and within 25 minutes of hanging up, he got a call from Homeland Security And then he found law enforcement going through his house with guns. And Jen said that the call that she got in the Sprinter was a real call.
Right. Here's the thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming Sharif has an iPhone, I gotta assume that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. You had your assistant call. I didn't hear nothing about you unlocking the phone for your assistant. Just saying. Just saying. Because remember, when we saw on the footage shows that on Jen's phone it says Sharif Shah at the top, which means the assistant has a call from his phone.
Yes. And so she has the password, the 4-digit password.
I'm just okay.
And only the other spouse would have that. And Jen knows the other spouse because that's part of the Muslim thing. That's why he wants her to convert, isn't it?
I think she already converted. Yeah. Probably it could be. I'm just saying, why does your assistant have the password to your phone? Okay.
But I'm still confused because, all right, so the assistant called Jen while she was on the Sprinter, and she left. Andy kept on pushing and saying, you called her to let her know that the Homeland Security was coming. He was like, no, I called her to let her know about my medical appointment. And then it was 25 minutes later that Homeland Security called me. So I didn't tell her about that. Get it right, y'all. Get it right.
Right. There's way too much that doesn't make sense with their story. It's too much all over the place for me.
Andy asked Jen and Sharif if they had infidelities in their marriage. And he said no. Technically, it's not an infidelity because of their religion. That's a loophole.
True. It was just weird. The whole thing was weird.
Andy wants to know what ugly adjacent ass. That's the name of the person that was sending in all of these stupid questions. Ugly adjacent ass. Ugly adjacent asked, no. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's just ugly adjacent. Sorry. I added on the ass. Because that was my thought right there. This ass was sending another question. Ugly adjacent. He asked Sharif why Sharif is not getting the same energy as Erica Jane. And Andy asked Sharif if he ever questioned where the money came from. So that's what led into that whole conversation. Right. And he also asked him if he's worried about being implicated. And Sharif is just like, no. How could you not be worried about being implicated? You're married to her.
That's the thing. Basically, that's like order speak saying my name's not on anything. That's what that was. I bet you his name is on nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if Shah Chalet, everything's in her name. Because my thing is, typically you know who you marry to, and when you're not going to be able to tell me that you and your spouse don't discuss business.
Or how things are getting paid, or anything like that.
Because here's the reason why I say that, and the reason why I say that we're going based off of their faith. He's head of household, so you're telling me in your religion and your faith, and he seems pretty traditional. You're not gonna know what's going on with the money in the household overall. I just don't believe that.
Okay, so Larger Curves says that Lisa Barlow just did an interview with MZ where she said Jenny deserves a second chance. It needs to be forgiven. She can go too. Oh, with TMZ. Okay. Oh, Lord have mercy. Sharif just so happened to have a health scare on the day of her arrest. Not that it couldn't happen, but it's a little sus.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, if ever there was a day that you needed a bleeding bottom, it was that day, Sharif. Good on you. So are you saying that Sharif has more than one wife and that's where Ginny's husband got the idea? No, I've been saying that he's had another family since last season, just as
Fair enough.
Jokes.
Fair enough. You have been saying this since last year.
Yeah. And is that where Ginny's husband got the idea? No, I think they just brought that up because it's just where they live.
Right. It's a low-hanging fruit storyline.
Mm-hmm. What else happened here?
I'm trying to think.
Do you believe that Justin is no longer like included in that litigation with the MLM?
Honestly, it would be hard to. It would be as he was ahead of it. I find it shocking they would remove him.
He said what I mean? He was removed very quickly.
Right.
Oh. John said that he didn't like the Jen and Lisa blow up, the one over the car phone. He said but he didn't take it seriously because they've done that many times. And then Sharif thought that out of everybody that Lisa would have responded the quickest when it was actually Heather. Why would he think that Lisa would respond the quickest?
That made no sense.
Like, first of all, you're never there. Second of all, Lisa is like a Lisa come lately.
Right. Good point. But what did you think of the ladies' faces when Sharif was telling his story about his medical appointment? I'll let you go first on this one.
They were probably like mine when he said a bleeding booty. It's like, really? You have rectal colon cancer? Is that what you're trying to tell us now? What's going on here? Or is this just a colonoscopy where, something went wrong? What is happening? It was a lot of information, and I think it was a little TMI on purpose in order, because all Jen and by proxy Sharif did that evening was deflect. That's my opinion.
In my opinion, they didn't believe him. That's just my opinion. They didn't believe him. Because it looked on their faces like, please. like Lisa had to look like, that's the best you could do.
I don't know. Coach and Sharif are going to need to remember these lies. Yeah, they are. Oops. Oh, Coach and Jen. Okay, we got you. They are going to need to remember their lives. And who knows? You might have hit something on the head. He could be Coach Shah for Jen and Sharif for his other family. You never know.
You're absolutely right.
What do you think about Heather's excuse for going in on Lisa during the reunion? She said that she actually never saw saw the other side of the Meredith Lisa altercation, right? She was just always like, Meredith has been a good friend to her. But then when they went to Zion and she admitted, I've never seen the other side where Meredith might have let you down. I did not see Heather say to Lisa that Meredith is a bad friend. I didn't see that part. And I believe, Heather, that if she had said it, they would have put it on air.
Right.
Lisa lies too much. But Heather said, look, if you had came to the reunion and just owned up to your behavior, took accountability for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have tried for you. Because I guess it would have seemed like growth. But Lisa's not capable of that. So she decided to go in on her. Good for you, Heather. Oh, Meredith says, I wanted to ask you about this. When Meredith says that she doesn't hold grudges, she establishes boundaries to protect herself. What did you think of that? And do you think that she does that, or does she hold the grudges?
Oh, Meredith? Meredith holds a grudge.
Okay. Okay. I thought that this changed up too. When Jen said she was on the road, she said she was driving for 20 minutes before her arrest. And she said that these people just told her to come with them. They took her to the court building and right to a courtroom to see the judge. They did say that she was under arrest, and an attorney came in and he explained what was involved in the indictment and the charges. And that's when she found out what was going on. So you let them, these strange men with weapons, take you from a deserted road in the middle of Utah, not knowing where you're going. No one presented ID to tell you what was going on. Like, don't they need to arrest you and say, because of the following charges is the reason why we're arresting? I've never been arrested before. Hey, Priya. Hey, Ebony. Ebony, we can't drop the link today. I'm sorry. But if you're with us on Thursday or Friday, we can talk about this again. I'm sorry, Ebony. It's just that I'm on a tight time constraint today. What was I saying? When you get arrested, don't they tell you why you're getting arrested? Or do they hold that? Okay. Someone had to read her the Miranda rights. Yeah. To take her into custody, they do have to read the Miranda rights. But don't they always have to tell you at least something of why you're being arrested? Oh my God. Yeah, she was traumatized by the Ring footage, the Ring camera footage. She says that she saw that after she got home. And do you go straight to court when you get arrested?
I thought they took you to a holding cell. Well, or maybe it depends on the time of day.
Or do you think who this involved was the reason why everything was so expedited?
I think I think they look, she's a quote unquote celebrity. We need to get this out there.
It's not like they took her in for questioning. She was arrested, and went before the judge and everything. Child, I would not be taking this as lightly as she seems to be. She says that she hasn't spoken to Stewart since. They talk about him changing his plea and that can't be good for her. She couldn't really respond to any of that. So I thought it was kind of useless asking her those questions. Andy asked if anyone else has spoken to Stewart. Heather said that she reached out but got no response. And then Lisa jumped in and said that she also reached out. But Jen didn't believe when Lisa said that she tried to call Stuart. Oh, child, this was just a mess. This was just a whole mess. They did ask Whitney how she knew so much about like the whole chicanery
that was
of
hilarious.
that.
That was hilarious. And she was stumbling and bumbling like, yep, sometimes it pays to keep your mouth shut. Because she's oops, busted.
Jen was mad at her though for saying that she had did Jen say that Whitney said on Watch What Happens Live that Coach was a sugar daddy, or that she had a sugar daddy?
Because she had a sugar daddy.
Right, but Jen was saying like you call Coach a sugar daddy or something like that. It wasn't what Whitney said. I know Whitney was saying, I thought she had a sugar daddy, and that's why she was living her life like that.
Right. Jen misinterpreted what Whitney said. We understood what Whitney was saying. What Whitney was saying is like, you're married to Coach Shah, but you have a sugar daddy on the side who's giving you money. I understood what she meant. I'm like, oops.
Andy asked Lisa if she was trying to distance herself from Jen after the arrest, and Lisa says no. And that Jen just went ballistic. Then they replayed Lisa calling all of her lawyers.
All of them.
All 6 of them. They're so shady. I think that will be the best clip ever. Her calling all of her lawyers. She says that she called her lawyers to get information and find out if there was anything on the docket. Then the 2 of them start arguing about the definition of a docket. I don't know. Lisa says she knows that Jen is trying to turn the narrative. Okay.
Yeah, I would.
That's what she's supposed to do.
Right.
Jen says it was hurtful to hear that Meredith didn't want to be in a room with her. Why are you surprised? People do that.
Exactly.
They ask her about the Uber ride from Heather's house. And Jen says she got the Uber because she knew that the person she was going to meet isn't allowed to come to Heather's house because he stole from Heather. Why are you hanging around with people who steal from your friends?
That too.
Jen says she's not red flagged at Louis Vuitton. Meredith says that's what she heard from several parties. Ooh, and Heather wants Meredith to say the names of who these several parties are.
And I don't blame her.
Oh, Meredith did explain her private investigator a little bit more. She said that he was a oh my God, I can't remember. Did I write it down? But he was a specialized private investigator, like digital forensics or something like that.
Yeah.
Something forensics, but like online stuff. She paid a pretty penny for that. Damn. Andy asked the ladies if they think that she's guilty of fraud and money laundering. And Heather says that she doesn't care whether she's guilty or innocent.
Right. That had me hollering because she's like, well, I don't care if she's guilty. I'm like, yep, there you go. There's your answer. There's your answer right there. You don't care? Really? Okay.
I love Meredith's response. She says she doesn't have any idea. She's not a judge or jury. Ooh. Oh yeah, she's fighting for all of the people who can't. Shut up, girl.
Yeah. And then when she said, like, I'm fighting for the people who like who don't have the resources, who can't fight. I'm like,
You don't have the
this,
resources.
thank you for saying it. Because
Oh,
if we
he
really,
specialized in encrypted messaging. Thank you. I couldn't remember. Hey, Shay. Hey, Vintage Optimism. Um, this last episode was so all over the place. It was just like a shark. It really was.
I do have a question for you, and for the chat too, you guys as well. This reunion finale, it didn't wrap anything up. It just left us with more questions. Way more questions.
Didn't we say that with the last reunion for them?
The last part of the reunion.
No, the last season. Remember, we were left with more questions after their first season reunion?
True, because the questions revolved around Jen's business and how no one knew how it worked, but Lisa through Meredith on the buzz like, oh, Meredith knows about it. She makes a lot of money, a lot of money. That's what we were like, Meredith, what's going on
but
here?
now I'm looking at that side eye because I don't believe anything that comes out of Lisa's mouth.
True, and I also want to touch on Meredith because you remember, I can't remember what the question was, but Lisa's because Meredith called the feds and she's all joking. I'm like, no,
that was cute. That was cute.
I'm like, no, you're not joking. You ain't joking. You Meredith called the
A
feds on you.
cyber specialist. That's what he was. Okay, so then to end off the episode, Andy wants to hear something that the ladies have taken away from this season. Heather says her biggest takeaway is that they're all human and no one is beyond redemption. They uniquely love each other, and she commends Jen for showing up, and that they're all going to be rooting for Jen. Girl, only speak for yourself.
Yeah, please only speak for yourself.
Jenny says coming into the season as a newbie, she's going to speak her mind more and just be out there. Well, you're going to be doing that elsewhere. Whitney says she's going to believe in herself and that she can do anything. And it's very important to take a stand, even if it's not a popular one. It's important. Meredith has learned not to let things fester and to communicate. She internalizes things and then she doesn't communicate and then it snowballs. Yeah, that's very true. Lisa learned a lot of things. Oops. Hold on. She learned a lot of things, especially in the last 5 days. She has a very hard time being vulnerable. She wasn't raised that way because she's not. What did I write here? She wasn't raised that way, and people don't see her for who she is and where her heart is. That's because you lie, girl. Jen says that she's stronger than she thinks. And if you can get through the impact of what you're going through, it will be okay. She knows her husband loves her and her kids do too. Those are the takeaways that she's learned from this past year. And then he thanks all of them for a great season and brings out fire roasted friendship churros. Why aren't they? I wondered why they weren't drinking. Right. I'd have been disappointed with that churro. Heather gives a toast. And the only thing I took away from it was when she said that they're fake and that they're real, they're fake, they're fucked up, and then they toast and eat the churros. This reunion sucked.
Pretty much.
Reunions are supposed to answer questions, but nowadays they don't, and we have more questions. Yeah. But you know what? If they had better casting, we would have our questions answered, but they don't. They don't have better casting. Um, let's hope they have some more interesting new people on next season. I'm not sure if I'm in for season 3,
I mean, the newbies look
especially.
interesting, but like we all said, they can't be they cannot be friends with Lisa Barlow.
Yeah, and then you notice the comment earlier where Lisa is gunning to bring Ginny back. Nobody want to see Ginny.
Yeah,
Nobody.
we cool.
And why are you fighting to bring her back? She did not have your back. She sat there quiet while people was coming at you and trying to break you all the time. She could stay where she at. Her and Dewey. They wanted to, like, they reeked from their pores. I'm so happy to be on TV.
Yeah, Jenny didn't play her cards right because here's the thing: had all Jenny had to do was sit back, observe, and tell
Mm-hmm.
her story, she'd been on for the next 2 or 3 seasons
Her
easily.
story wasn't that interesting.
But that's the problem. She didn't play it right. Because what you're supposed to do, like now, if I'm Jenny, right, and I'm this is me acting as Jenny. What I would have done is like I came in and was like, hello, I've known Lisa 10 years. We're very good friends. We were pregnant together. I had these businesses. This is what they were. I downsized my business so I can be home and raise my children. These are my children. Focus on Carlin because she's the most outspoken and the funniest. We gonna ride the wave of Carlin through the season. Now with the 5 star, like what? I'm new to this group. From an outsider's perspective, this is what I see. It looks like Jen and Meredith were very good friends. Some things were said, maybe a little miscommunication. I hope they work it out. Now I'm gonna get my behind on the bus and drink. That's all she had to do.
Yeah, but those weren't Lisa's instructions. And
Okay.
that's where she messed up.
Oh, so you
You
think
know,
that do you think has she told the company line, aka the Via Tequila line? Do you think that she would have survived for another season?
well, not with what came out about her. And I wouldn't be surprised if Lisa dropped that information
Oh,
because she didn't defend her. Lisa petty
okay,
like that.
okay. But okay. Do you think had she not gone so hard at marrying,
Mm-hmm.
no one would have went digging for that information? Because let's be honest about it. Let's call thing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
If that information had to be known somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not going to tell me because those posts were still up to be found. You gonna tell me no one didn't see that earlier? Bravo social media managers, y'all didn't see that?
But I firmly believe that they bring on problematic people in the hopes that they can get busted and ride the wave of notoriety. Because look, all like bad PR is really sometimes really great PR.
Right, but what I'm saying is y'all didn't know. Y'all knew. My thing is, I agree with you. I think they knew, but some Jenny pissed off somebody at Bravo because they love them some Mary.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what? She picking on our Mary, so this is what we're gonna do to her. And they dropped the post.
Here's the thing: a post like that in that neck of the woods is not unusual.
True.
Utah's a Republican state. They are not for the Black Lives Matters rallies. They weren't for the anarchists and all of this. Rah 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 rah. They made Black Lives Matter almost into a dirty word. Um, am I surprised by that post? No, but I don't think that post would be that outrageous in Utah.
Right, but we're not dealing with just in Utah though.
No, we're not.
You're dealing
But that's
international.
why what is it still a local production company?
Probably we have to look into it. But what all I'm
So
saying
that's
is,
why I'm saying if it's still a local production company, they're not going to see those posts as that hurtful because they're the norm for that area. And even they know they're controversial. They probably thought that she could write it out. But then with all of the her attacking Mary, she didn't stand a chance. If she didn't attack Mary, and if she had handled that properly with a proper apology, she could have gotten by. But it was just too much. It's just too much. During a break, Lisa came for her because someone told Mary said her house was ugly. I think that was last week we mentioned that, Ryan. Yeah, the bad renovation.
that was last week.
Yeah, they just replayed it again this week.
Right. That's so funny.
But because Meredith got up last week and walked away. Her shoes were hurting her. Did you notice how Meredith was walking? Yep. Them shoes was hurting her. But yeah, she actually, that was at the end of last week's episode, and they just brought it on again this week. I think that was a stretch for Lisa.
Correct. Agreed.
That was a stretch. Anywho, guys, I've got to run. Please don't forget to give us a little thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Loved all your comments in the live chat. Can't wait to see the comments below from the replay crew. Tomorrow, 90 day?
Yes.
Okay, so 90 days tomorrow. I have to watch that tonight.
Me too.
My God. Was it good, y'all? I'm hoping it was at least semi-decent so that I don't fall asleep on it. All right, so join us back here tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, where we'll talk about all things 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. Jamal, I'm going to give you some homework. I'm going to need you to try and find out how many more episodes we have of 90 Day. I want it to be done.
Same.
I want it to be done. All right, guys. Jamal, any final thoughts?
No, this has been a great start of the week. The fact that Salt Lake City has ended, it was too long, and I'm hoping for better content from Bravo because Miami killed it. Miami makes me mad at like OC and
we have to find something to talk about on Mondays now.
Love at the Lockup is back. No, I haven't started watching it yet, but I want to.
You haven't, and you're saying that? Okay, you watched the first episode of you.
Okay.
Okay. So, guys, see you back here.
So Kimberly threw a drink.
Kimberly threw a drink. Okay. They're saying Beverly Hills starts with a bang.
Mass Australia, Susan says.
That's like I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch that.
What episode are you guys on?
25. We're at the homestead visits.
I can catch up.
We've only got one more commitment ceremony left until the regular commitment ceremonies.
Oh, this is only 25?
Yeah.
Remember last season was like 44? With Cam and Jules, that was 44.
Yeah, but was Cam and Jules? No, that was pre-lockdown. These are all taping during lockdown.
That's why
they're getting more. They're getting 30 episodes during lockdown.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. Way more sense.
Yeah, they even have weddings with like 2 people there.
Well, I can. You know what I can do is. Well, if you want to talk about it, and the chat was talking about, let me at least catch up on the last couple episodes. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
I can watch the first couple, then catch up the last. I'll catch up as best I can.
Yeah.
And we'll
You
and
just
we'll
have to do searches on YouTube,
yeah.
and they come up. They're a mess. They're a mess. I love it.
Okay. I'll do my best to catch up for next week then.
Yeah, this week's commitment ceremony was everything. I don't know where they come up with these ideas, but production is they are sneaky, 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 and the participants in this experiment are stupid, 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 stupid.
Wow. Okay.
All right, guys. So we'll see you back here tomorrow. It's been a blast, Jamal. Until next time.
Of course.
All righty. Bye.